Hello and welcome to Passing the Torch, an online Bible study with your host and teacher, Bob Clark. That's me. Today is our next installment on a series of shorter lessons that we've been calling Bible Bytes that make you go, Today we're talking Bible humor by Moses. We don't think of Moses as being a funny man, especially if he's played by Charlton Heston in the Ten Commandments. But there's some funny lines in here. Funny lines by Moses. Okay, so Exodus 1:22. So Pharaoh commanded all his people, saying, "Every son who is born you shall cast into the river, and every daughter you shall save alive." Well, that doesn't sound very funny. Okay, so what he's saying, I'm just setting this up. He's saying that if you have a son, he's to be killed. He's throw him in the river. But if you have a daughter, she can live. All right, so next chapter, Exodus 2:1. And a man of the house of Levi went and took as wife a daughter of Levi. So the woman conceived and bore a son. And listen to this, when she saw that he was a beautiful child, she hid him 3 months. Who wrote this? Moses. This is out of the books of Moses. When she saw that who's she talking about? Who's it talking about? Moses. When she saw that Moses, was a beautiful child, but it goes on even beyond that. Numbers 12, verses 1 through 3. Then Miriam and Aaron, that's Moses' sister and brother, spoke against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married. For he had married an Ethiopian woman, and they said, "Has the Lord indeed spoken only through Moses? Has he not spoken through us also?" And the Lord heard it. Verse 3. Now the man Moses was very humble, more than all the men who were on the face of the earth. Who wrote that? Moses, the same one who said, and when she saw that he was a beautiful child, "I am more humble than any man on the earth." I find that hilarious. All right, so another story totally. Another night with the frogs. Exodus chapter 8, we're going to read parts of verses 1 through 10. This is during the 10 plagues. And the Lord spoke to Moses, "Go to Pharaoh and say to him, 'Thus says the Lord, let my people go, that they may serve me. But if you refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all of your territory with frogs.'" There's that smiting thing in the Bible. So I will smite all your territory with frogs. So we skip over a few verses. Then so there were frogs all over the land. It said they were getting everywhere, coming into their houses, into their kitchens, on the kitchen cabinets, in their blenders. It was a mess. Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron and said, "Entreat the Lord that he may take away the frogs from me and from my people, and I will let the people go, that they may sacrifice to the Lord." Now he wound up lying about it, And Moses said to Pharaoh, "Accept the honor of saying, when I shall intercede for you, for your servants and for your people, to destroy the frogs from you and your houses, that they may remain in the river only." I find that's almost as fun as the next line here, because it's like, accept the honor. It's this playing up to him kind of thing. So Pharaoh says, "Tomorrow." And Moses says, "Let it be according to your word, that you may know that there is no one like the Lord our God." Again, I find this hilarious. Why don't you say, "How about now, dude?" But did he say that? No. Tomorrow. I want one more night with the frogs. I find that funny. So, from funny to more interesting there's a picture of, so if you look at a picture of Israel in the desert, like from a helicopter, not that they had helicopters back then, but you get the idea, from above. Numbers chapter 2 goes through a long list of how many were to be camped on each side of the tabernacle. So I'm going to read just part of that, starting in verse 1. "And the Lord spoke to Moses and to Aaron, saying, Every one of the children of Israel shall camp by his own standard," that's his own flag, "beside the emblems of his father's house. They shall camp some distance from the tabernacle of the meeting. So the tabernacle of the meeting, that's the predecessor to the temple, was in the middle of the camp, and then they were to camp at some distance from there. On the east side, now let me stop here a moment. Think about it. Think from a Levitical mind. The east side isn't in the general east direction. It's directly east. So so the camp of Levi was around the tabernacle. So you have the tabernacle. The camp of Levi was right around that. So whatever the width and length of that camp, that is, the other camps went straight east, straight south, west, north from there. All right? So on the east side, toward the rising of the sun, those of the standard of the forces with Judah. So the camp of Judah was on the east side. And it goes on, and his army was numbered at 74,600. So it gives us the numbers of each of these armies of all the 12 camps, right? Those who camp next to him shall be of the tribe of Issachar. And he goes through all the 12. Each side was represented by the standard of the primary tribe of that camp. So every tribe had its standard, its flag, but there were 4 main ones around the tabernacle. It happens to form the faces of the cherubim in that same order. If you go and look up at Ezekiel 1 verse 10 and 10:14, also in Revelation 4:7, you'll see these 4 faces. But if you go and look, take all of those camps. So like I said, in the middle is the tabernacle. So I hope you can see the picture that I have on the screen right now, this chart. Take the tabernacle, put it in the middle, put Levi, the camp of Levi around that. Let's make it a square. And then directly to the east, you have the camp of Dan. Excuse me, I've turned this chart. So directly to the north, you have the camp of Dan, Asher, Naphtali. To the east, you have camp of Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. To the south, you have Reuben, Simeon, and Gad. To the north, you have Ephraim, Manasseh, and Benjamin. Because they gave us the number of men in the army, we can get an idea, we can get an estimate of the size of each of their individual camps. What does that picture look like? Because the north, west, and south legs they're almost the same length. The eastern leg is significantly longer. There, if you're flying over the camp of Israel in the wilderness, in the desert, it shows, painting a picture of the cross. There, 18 or 1400 years before the cross. I find that cool. And with that, there's Bible Bites that make you go, We will see you next time on Passing the Torch. So long.